Let me call the November 19, 2019 meeting of Stillwater Planning Commission to order. Our first item of business, item 2A, election of a chair. That's what's posted on the agenda. Do I hear a nomination for the election of a chair?
Thought we already did this.
Our chair has left us, and I'm the vice chair. That is correct in terms of what the deal is. My suggestion is you recommend me for chair and then Brad for vice chair.
I second both.
Well, if they nominate and elect you, then we have a chair, and we'll put it on the next agenda to nominate a vice chair.
Excellent.
Can't do it behind his back.
Why not?
He's not here. We know what we're going to do for the next meeting, though.
That's right.
So you want to make a motion for me for chair?
I move that you become the chairperson, Mike Butcher.
I second that motion.
The motion passes 3-0. Let me briefly discuss our process for the items tonight. Once we call an item, the commission will hear briefly from the staff first, then the applicant or their representative, and then open a public hearing to hear those in favor or in opposition to the request. When you come to the podium, please clearly state your name and address for the record. After all interested parties have spoken, the public hearing will be closed. We will hear closing remarks and alternatives from the staff. First item is item 3A. Rick Butzer, final plat, requesting review and approve final plat to create a residential subdivision of 8 lots with 2 outlots, zone residential 2-family, residential 2-family, multifamily, on property currently addressed as 3098 East 4th Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, as a point of information, this item is on the consent docket, so it doesn't require a public hearing unless a member of the public or commission wish to pull it off the consent agenda. You can just make a motion to approve as listed if you desire, or you can pull that off the agenda and we can go through the formal review process.
Is anybody in the audience want to speak on this item? Seeing no one, we'll keep it on the consent docket unless objections from other planning commission.
No objection.
None.
You just need a simple motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve it.
I second that motion.
The motion passes 3-0. Item 5A, Vapor Supplies Unlimited LLC specific use permit requesting review and approval to establish a medical marijuana dispensary on property addressed as 704 North Main Street in the Commercial General District.
Mr. Chairman, Ryan Harkins, Community Development. This is, again, for a dispensary. As you mentioned, the address is 704 North Main. The subject property is here in the hatched pattern. This is the aerial view from the street. This gives you an idea of the commercial corridor along Main. So IHOP and Golden Dragon will be over here. Jimmy John's is right here. There's a gas station, convenience store here, and then a strip building. There is currently a business in the building. This is going to be part of that. With that, I'll let the applicant and or their agent come forward and speak to their proposal.
Is the applicant or their agent here tonight?
Good evening, Kelly Harris with Keystone Engineering here representing, I'm at 923 South Lowry. Here representing the owners tonight. This, as staff mentioned, this is an existing business, vapor supply store. They're on the south end of that strip mall there currently. And all they're looking to do is just expand into a different retail market or expand kind of the services that they provide now. They're going to be using their existing space. Are there any questions that you have that I can answer?
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Let me officially open the public hearing. Does anyone want to speak on this item, either for or against, or neutral? Seeing no one, I want to officially close the public hearing. Staff, you want to?
Absolutely. So findings that we can issue are that state statutes allow for these facilities with proper licensing, which they have attained. The Land Development Code allows for these types of facilities in the CG zoning district with a specific use permit. They do have sufficient parking. They are on a main arterial, and they have all of the proper licensing at this time. With that said, you can accept the findings and approve. You can table to a certain date if you feel additional information is needed, or you can find the request is not appropriate and recommend denial to the City Council. Any questions staff can answer?
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Any discussion, or you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the findings and recommend approval as presented.
I second that.
Motion passes 3-0. Next item is short-term rental. Review of applicant from Christie Story for a short-term rental property at 2601 West 22nd Avenue in the residential single-family small lot district.
Okay, so this item is being brought to you because originally there was an application for a short-term rental that was protested. The normal process is notification goes out to adjacent property owners within 300 feet. One of the adjacent property owners in that buffer area filed a protest with the city. They have since withdrawn that protest after discussions with the applicant. However, because it has been put on the protest and therefore is on the agenda, we have to go through the hearing process. That is the only protest staff has received. And since it's been withdrawn, we just want to make sure you understand that we don't have any currently sitting protests for this application out there. Once you go through the hearing process, you can either table the item, you can vote to recommend approval, or you can vote to recommend denial. Any questions I can answer so far?
Any questions?
Okay.
Is the applicant here? Not seeing anyone. I would like to open the official public hearing on this item. And I see someone raising their hand. Come up, do your name, address, and make whatever comment you so desire.
My name is Jeffrey Adam Dye, and I live at 2105 South 22nd Court. My family and I have lived in the neighborhood since 2014 and have concern. We counted up, and I filed a protest right down the hall up there, and I did not withdraw the protest, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. Hand delivered it. Anyway, I did not withdraw that, just for the record. Counted up before I came, there are 17 children aged 11 and under that live in this particular cul-de-sac. 10 of those 17 walk from that cul-de-sac all the way out to 19th to catch the bus every morning and walk home from school. So my concern would be, first off, for traffic. It's a very congested area, and concern for traffic in and out of the cul-de-sac from people who are not aware that there are a lot of small children riding bikes, kicking soccer balls, playing basketball, doing all those things. And then my secondary concern would be from a sexual predator reporting guidelines. The way I understand it, the research I've done, that short-term rentals do not qualify for that. So, in theory, someone who is a restricted sex offender could come and lease out this Airbnb for 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, and not have to register with the city, stating that. So those are my concerns. I'm pro Stillwater, pro business, pro community. I just have concerns with the sheer volume of very small children that are in this particular cul-de-sac. So, yeah, those are all the comments I have.
Thank you. Yes, why don't you address?
On the sexual predator part, the owner of the house probably doesn't have to register anything. The predator probably doesn't have to check in. However, they're under strict guidelines that they can't be within so many feet or proximity of children up to certain ages. So just the fact that they're there, we may not know it, but if there's an issue or we find out that they're there, they're in violation.
Okay.
So they're subject to arrest and prosecution for violating the Sexual Offender Registration Act.
Okay.
And the protection is still there
That
to
is
some degree.
a little bit of solace. I appreciate that. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak for or against this item? Let me officially close the public hearing. Any discussion or a motion?
I think just to clarify, which I've read over it earlier, is I believe it's just, she's just renting out one bedroom, right? It's not, she's not renting out the entire house, just one bedroom. So the increased traffic could most likely be limited to one vehicle.
That's the way staff reads the application. We've not had any contact with the applicant, but that's the way we read the application.
And that's the way it looks on the map. It just says bedroom for rent.
Yeah.
And the way the application read was that it was one room. So I'm guessing the owner will occupy the remainder of the home.
That's our assumption.
Okay.
Application going forward, you license, or the city will permit that address. So in theory, they could end up using more or less of what they put, because you get the permit for 2804 East Lakeview, or whatever the case might be.
Okay.
Any other questions we can answer?
Any discussion, or do you want to make a motion?
Just as another matter of clarification, while you ponder that, you can vote to approve, vote to recommend denial, or you can vote to table it until you can look further into the objection that he says was filed.
I recommend we approve as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Motion passes 3-0. Our next regular meeting, next item is the regular meeting summary of November 5th, 2019.
I move we accept the minutes as written.
I second.
Motion passes 3-0. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for December 3rd, 2019. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
I second.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.